From LAW Law says, our O-line and D-line with a true telling of our season. We will average 160 yards per game while giving up 60 to 75. If you do that, this is one of the best teams in football. 160 yards per game on the ground would put you as the number 3 run offense from what it was last year, and the number one run defense by a wide margin. I don't know if you'll actually do that. That seems very optimistic, but it means everything's going well for you. The run game is working. The run D is working. You're up big. You're winning games. You're running the football. You're stopping the run. Those indications, like if you're top 5 in both stats, you're almost the best team in football on a pretty consistent basis, because that means the outcomes are probably in your favor too, because you're able to stop the run, you're not giving up yards, and you're able to run the ball too. Now, reminder, we're doing a new George Pickens jersey raffle. Every $5 super thanks or super chat, if you're watching live, gets you into the jersey raffle. Mighty Ants, much like the Law one, $2. Please find me a serviceable, reliable DT in a trade. I would love to do this because I do think you need another defensive tackle. Osa at the 3 technique spot. Okay, cool. I think he'll be better this year. Breakout year potentially coming, or even another breakout year if you want to factor what he's done previously. Sweet. Solomon Thomas can serve as the other 3 technique. Last year, going with Mozzie Smith and 7th rounders / UDFAs didn't work. So we're doing the exact same thing this year, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So I am worried about the nose guard spot. I would love to go find one in a trade. The problem is most of those guys aren't available. That's why you're searching around the bottom of the Jordan Phillips barrel, the Linval Joseph barrel. You're probably going to be hunting in a similar grouping this year. Maybe that changes. I agree. I would love to get one. I do worry at that spot in particular, it's a little bit dicey to actually find one. Now, do the Cowboys need a defensive tackle? I think the answer is yes, but I want to hear from you guys. Y for yes, N for no. It is the pinned comment on today's video. So go vote at that pinned comment, Y or N. Lawrence Rodriguez. Cheers time. What do you think about Rasul Douglas as a free agent pickup? I think if you're factoring in the top free agent corners, he's in your first couple names, like Asante Samuel, Stephon Gilmore, Mike Hilton, Rasul Douglas in some order, some combination. Douglas isn't as old as Gilmore and doesn't offer the inside ability as Mike Hilton. Has better medicals though than Asante Samuel. So I would guess that he wants to find a spot. I think he will find a spot. I wonder if he's looking for more guaranteed playing time and or money than what Dallas is probably going to be willing to offer, because the Dallas stuff isn't forever. It's help us get to the first 8 weeks of the season, potentially. And maybe injuries happen, maybe they don't. Maybe, Shavon does not take a step forward. So I would have interest. If, knock on wood, you lose somebody, he jumps up your list because I think he is the most equipped to play an entire season on the outside right now at his age, but he also probably wants more money as a result. So good name. I wonder if the fit is better elsewhere. That was $20, and so was this one from Matt Temple. Would you consider the best free agent signing, or who do you think consider the best free agent signings to 2000? For me, it's Leroy Glover. I think you've probably got the right guy, and there have been good players. I think the Terrell Owens one worked, up until it didn't. That's how free agency and signings in general tend to go. I think that Brandon Carr wasn't that bad. I think you had some good success with safeties. Malik Hooker is still playing pretty decently for you. Jaron Kearse was good for a little bit, not as good as Leroy Glover. Not far from the worst ones there. I think in the end, though, it probably is Glover for just the contract costs, the impact, the length, the longevity, all that I think ends up being the correct answer. Today's show is made possible by Chubby's. Summer is here. It's official time to let those dogs out, and by dogs, we mean legs. If your pups have been stuck in jeans or sweats for the last few months, set them free with the Lined Swim collection from Chubby's. It took everything annoying about the old school swimsuits, like that scratchy, annoying mesh liner, and replaced with a soft, supportive boxer brief liner that keeps you comfortable and chafe-free. They've also got the original stretch shorts. They're available in long, short, and way short. And they come with a relaxed fit, elastic waistband, and no fuss design. And then also check out the Chubby's Performance Polo for brunch, backyard party, wedding, crashing a party, golf, whatever it is. It's a structured collar that stays sharp, 4-way stretch comfort, breathable, moisture-wicking fabric as well. So whether you're suiting up for cannonballs, cookouts, casual Fridays, the golf course, whatever, Chubby's has you covered. For a limited time, they're giving you 20% off your order with code CHAT at chubbyshorts.com/chat. That's code CHAT, C-H-A-T, at chubbyshorts.com/chat. Support our show and let them know we sent you. Summer's here, so dress like it in Chubby's. Links in the comments and the description of today's show. J-Buzz. When all healthy, do you think Diggs, Bland, and Revel will be on the field at the same time? Will Bland play the slot willingly? And can Shavon Revel play any slot? So when healthy, if they play the way that they think they should play, yes. Those are your three corners. And maybe not in that order, but Diggs, Bland, Revel would be your top three corners. Bland has already been doing slot at minicamp and OTAs. I think he'll be willing to do that as well in season. So I think he'd rather play on the outside, but pay him and it all goes away, right? As for Shavon Revel playing slot, I don't think so. He didn't do it in college. His skill set, which is long, leggy, athletic, vertical speed, not the quickest guy necessarily, doesn't translate well to nickel. It translates super well on the outside. It doesn't translate great to nickel. Your nickel options are DaRon Bland, Izzy Mukwamu, Kamon Hall, essentially. So it's kind of a thin group. That's why I'm a bit worried about nickel, but Bland on the inside does benefit that as well. So yes, I think those three guys end up being your top three. From Daniel, you think that Jerry and Steven have Gilmore's agent on standby for training camp just to see how this current DB room goes in practice? Probably. I don't know if it's like standby, but I think that they have a list. Any competent organization has a list of like, hey, if something happens, these guys are the ones we're going to go consider. Any competent team. Dallas should have that as well. Cody Nelson, thoughts on a Trey Hendrickson trade? 0% chance it happens for Dallas. They got to pay Micah $40+ million. They don't want to pay Hendrickson $35+ million. Look, they could do it on the books. It's not that impossible to pull off from their money perspective. But they're not going to move a second at best for them to add Hendrickson when they already have Dante Fowler and Ezaraku and Sam Williams and Marshall. It's too much. It's too much investment, especially from a money perspective at one spot. With that in mind, name a player who you want to trade for. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. What player do you want to go get? Steven, do you think any starters will play the preseason? If so, I would say the first quarter of the last preseason game. It's a good question. It's a new coaching staff, so I don't know how Schottenheimer feels about it yet. I think even more so than previous years, maybe you have a better argument since, hey, new coaching staff, Dak hasn't played football, since October or whatever, November. Maybe it makes a bit more sense. I would wonder if it's the second preseason game. But, it's like a drive or two either way, whichever one it is. I don't think it's going to be the first game. The first game, they're going to have the joint practice before, so I doubt they do that. In the end, I don't really care that much about if you play or don't play in the preseason. I get anxious about injuries in the preseason because I've seen it tank seasons before. I have seen teams play their starters for a quarter each preseason and not play their starters for the first quarter of a preseason. In the end, I think the most you see the Cowboys play is what? A quarter total? Is a quarter of football action why you don't struggle for the first month of the season? Because that's the counter. They're going to start slow. I don't think there's the football that they can play to not start slow if that was going to be the case. So I don't worry that much outside of potential injuries happening. We will be live, though, for every single Cowboys preseason game. So don't miss out. Hit that sub button right now. Soccer Pro, do you think CD and Pickens will be the best wide receiver duo in the NFL? It's a good question. I think if you're doing your wide receiver duo lists, like they should be in that conversation. They should be on there in the top 10 somewhere, but I don't think they're number one. Like, to me, that is still T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. I think A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith are just as good. Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. I think you can argue Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison in that conversation. Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams. So, I think they're in that 5th spot-ish, give or take. Dusty, can Trevon Diggs play in week 1? I guess he could. I don't know. Maybe. Actually, let me rephrase this. Maybe. I don't know. He said he wants to. I don't know if that's going to be the case. I think the Cowboys are more cautious to not just throw him out there. I think they want to see how he's actually recovering. They haven't seen much of him this offseason. He was there for minicamp. He'll be there for training camp. So I wouldn't rule it out, but I would say it's very low probability because I am treating it as just an unknown. I don't know what's going to happen. We'll know more probably in late July, early August. And if he plays, awesome. I want him back because I think the Cowboys need him out there. If he's not back, well, I'm gonna operate of it's. You can't assume he's gonna be back in week 1 or week 2 or week 3. It's just you kind of got to let it play out and wait and see, as frustrating as that might be. So what week does Trevon Diggs return? Let me know in the comments of today's show. From Dry Jones, if Turpin wasn't fast enough to run from the cops, do we still want him on our team? I knew you were going to do this one for the last question. I knew you were going to do it, Chris. You saw it pre-show, like this is great. I think that going too fast was the root cause of why he got in trouble in the first place. So he needs to go less slow off the field and faster on the field.